Hi, hope you're doing well. This is flipping PCs until I buy my dream PC. So I've been flipping PCs for about 3 months now, but I'm just now deciding to start my YouTube channel because I want to combine my love of creating content and my dream of building this gaming PC. So I was inspired of doing this by people like Elijah's Lab and Andy Tibbs. And Andy's videos especially inspired me to both start the YouTube channel and start my PC flipping journey because he's about the same age as me, and he showed me that you don't have to wait to do something that you really want to do. So I started this journey back in late March when I built the first computer with some old parts I had lying around from when I upgraded my computer. And my friend told me that he had some parts that he didn't want anymore that were just lying around collecting dust. So I got them for free. So after that, I had a graphics card, a motherboard, a CPU cooler, storage. So the only things I had to buy was a case and some RAM. So the specs of the first computer I sold was a Sapphire RX 570, an i5 7100, 16 gigs of DDR4 Kingston RAM, a 250 gig SATA SSD, a 500 gig hard drive, uh, and yeah, that's basically it. And it wasn't the best, but it was a budget PC, and it was built with most of the parts that I already had. I spent around $80 on the new parts and sold it for a total of $300. So a total of $220. This would not be a trend during the other computers. I put up some pictures here on what the computer looked like, and the next computer I built, I spent around $550 on parts and sold it for a total of $650. Still a $100 profit, not massive, but still pretty good. The parts were 2070, Ryzen 5 5500, 32 gigs of RAM, a 500 gig NVMe SSD, a B450 motherboard, a 550-watt Thermalright power supply, and yeah, that's basically the important parts. This took ages to sell though, and I even had to switch the GPU because at first I had a GTX 1080 and no one wanted to buy it. I don't know why. It might have been because they thought it was bad because it wasn't RTX or whatever, but I swapped the GPU to the one that I had in my main rig and gave it a bit of an upgrade. And then I sold the GTX 1080 for $100, which was a little bit less than I paid for it, but I just needed to get rid of it. So after I swapped the GPU, it took about 2 weeks to sell, but before that, it took 2 whole months, and I just got a bunch of scam messages. It was a quite nice looking white PC. I put up some pictures, and whilst I was trying to sell that white gaming PC, I was also trying to sell my own main gaming rig. And because I swapped the RTX 2070 from my main rig into the white PC, I had to buy a new GPU. So I spent $100 that I got from selling the GTX 1080 on a RTX 2060. Even though the 2060 is a bit of a downgrade, it has RTX in the title, and I noticed that gaming PCs in my area with RTX in the title were selling a lot faster than the ones with a GTX graphics card. So I opted to get 2060. It wasn't the best price, but it was still a decent deal. So that PC that I swapped the 2016 to now had the following specs: an i3 12100F, uh, Gigabyte RTX 2060, 16 gigs of RAM, uh, a 1 TB SSD, a Arctic Liquid Freezer AIO, and quite a nice chassis. So I sold that for $450. Not the best price, but the profit wasn't really important with this PC because I just needed capital to be able to build more PCs in the future. Now that you're up to date, I want to tell you what I spent that money on. First thing I bought was this Ryzen 5 5600X for $75. Second was this B550 motherboard in white for $60. Then I bought this B450 motherboard. Got some knockoff Leon Lee fans, some white PC cable extensions, and finally a Ryzen 5 4500. PC that I bought, or that I spent all that money on. So I bought a RTX 4060 for 280, a Ryzen 5 5600X for 101, a 16 GB RAM for 40, 500 gig SSD for 30, a B450 for $60, a Thermalright 550 watt power supply for $30, and then I bought Windows to activate for $22. All in total, with all the parts, I paid $650 for this computer. It was all put into a fish tank style case. I put up some videos, and I just sold it for $850, a massive $200 profit. The guy who bought it just sent a $50 deposit, and it's come to pick up in around 10 days. I was willing to hold it for him for that long because he was willing to pay asking price for it and didn't want to negotiate. He just said that he could pay it if I could hold it for him for 10 days. So I'll update you after the sale. So I've just sold the computer. It went pretty smoothly, but that's unfortunately going to be it for today. I'll update you guys in part 2 with what I buy with all this money that I've now got.